Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to wait a second while people join us, so we'll just give it a couple minutes. We'll give it one more minute just to make sure everybody's in there. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. I am Heather Dawson with MaxSold, and we're going to dig in a little bit more when it comes to understanding how to master the partner managed MaxSold auction model. I work full time for MaxSold, but I also have been a partner with MaxSold and enjoyed using the partner managed auction service for my clients. And hopefully, this is going to be a useful time for you guys to learn a little and ask some questions when we're done. We will have a Q&A question at the end. You know, as you think of questions, feel free to put them into the chat box. We'll answer as many as we can at the end. I'm gonna try and share my screen. Screen. Okay. And hopefully you guys can all see that. All right. So master partner managed auctions. Let's dig into this. Here's the agenda for the presentation this evening. Real quick in the beginning, I know a lot of you are seasoned partners with MaxSold, but I know there's also a lot of new people here. So I will cover what exactly a partner managed auction is, and then talk a little bit about the MaxSold auction process, just so you can get a gauge on the service itself. And then we're going to talk about a few topics that at MaxSold, us here at MaxSold have gotten questions about recently. So vetting a client for an auction, we'll dig into, you know, how do you know if your client is a great fit to have an online auction? And then we will talk a bit about adding the auction service to your project proposal. That's another question we've gotten a lot lately, and hopefully what we share with you today will be helpful. And then finally, at the end, we'll cover the partnership benefits that MaxSold offers you. Right before the Q&A, we're going to launch a quick poll just to get some insights from you on your interests in future webinars, some of them being continuing ed eligible for our NAPO and NASM members out there, and others maybe being interest topics around the auction process. So let's get started. Partner managed MaxSold auction. A partner managed MaxSold auction is a collaboration between MaxSold and your company in order to provide an online auction service to your clients. Along with our intuitive app, the process is tailored to naturally fit into the services that you already provide your clients. So just to do a quick recap for those of you that already know, and those of you that are new here, to help you understand what we do at MaxSold. So at MaxSold, we help you sell and remove a volume of contents for your client's property efficiently. With an average sell-through rate of over 95%, we can sell practically everything in the home, from the car in the driveway to the cleaning supplies under the sink and almost anything in between. Our process is straightforward with a quick 2-week turnaround. Nearly everything is sold. Basically, there are 3 big parts to the MaxSold online auction process. In the beginning, it's gathering what you need for the sale, the photographs of the items you need to sell, with the titles and descriptions and information people would like to know about them. We call this cataloging the auction. And once that's done, the auction is live as its own sale on MaxSold's website, usually for about 7 days. And then at the very end of that, there is a pickup day event. And that is at the home where the items are that are being sold. And the buyers that have paid for their items would come to safely retrieve them by appointment times. So let's break that down a little bit. In a partner managed auction, let's have a look more closely at what the partner does and what MaxSold still does to continue to support that sale. So the partner is in there on site and would need to do what we call the setup component before starting cataloging. And that is anything that as an organizer, you would naturally understand how to do as part of your business. Sorting, decluttering, making those decisions with your client about what you're going to sell. And then from there, using our app to create those auction lots and photo them. Our app prompts you through. If you've ever used any other platform app, I would say ours is competitively easy. Very intuitive. We're constantly improving it. Our goal is to make it as efficient and user-friendly as possible. And we get a lot of good feedback around it. And it is the meat of the work that you're doing. As you're organically moving through items in your client's home, you can use this app to catalog your sale. Take the photos and put in your descriptions. When you're done, you sync it to the website. You'll have a portal that you can log into. And in that portal, you can see the catalog you created. And you can edit things in there if you would like. You will be able to share it with your client so that they can see what the auction that's about to go live will consist of. And then you get to choose the day it starts, and you get to choose the day the auction closes, and you get to pick the day that the pickup will happen on. And then after that, you sit back, relax, watch your sale, and wait until the very end. We do everything else in between, which I'll get to in a moment. But at the very end, it will be your team that will get to supervise the pickup day when the buyers will come after they've paid by time slot appointment to pick up the items safely that they have purchased. So it's really the beginning and the very end of the process. MaxSold will host that auction on their website. We provide a local market of bidders. We are advertising that auction to that local market. We are managing all communication with the bidders on your behalf. And we also collect all bidder payments and then pay out your client. So once that is done, we will immediately share a detailed report with you about what has sold, what the items sold for, who the buyers were, and the times they plan to come to pick up their items so that you can easily get ready for that pickup day and prep for that event. So as the partner, you do not have to worry about finding buyers for your client's sale, nor will you have to manage collecting payments. MaxSold streamlines the auction process, reaches the broader audience, and maximizes the return on items sold. So now we're going to talk a bit about how to navigate that big question that I do get often from partners, especially partners that are newer to this process. How do I know if this is what my clients should be doing? How do I know if my client needs an online auction? Do they have enough for an online auction? So here's what I call my 3-part recipe for success. First, make sure your client has enough for a sale. And when I say enough, I mean have my rule of thumb, technically for me, is no less than 60 to 75 auction lots. And remember, an auction lot can be one item, like a couch or a lawnmower or a painting, but it can also be a bundle of items or a grouping of things, like a set of china or a box of tools or um, a collection of 5 to 7 decorative items on a shelf that go together. So think in terms of auction lots and make sure you have enough. The second thing that I always suggest is variety. So more variety, the better. I know people often reach out and say, hey, my client has 8 pieces of furniture that they need a solution for. That may or may not be the best fit. It really depends on expectations they have around how those pieces will sell, what those pieces are. And 8 is a low number for one's own sale. But of course, again, it does kind of depend on what it is. So if it's 8 highly collectible pieces of mid-century modern furniture, it could be fine. Overall, though, I say keep your variety as vast as possible. You want furniture with collectibles, with kitchenwares, garage items are great, house decor, art, rugs, you name it. Because in the end, the more variety of items that you have in your auction will be equivalent to a greater variety of interested buyers that are going to click in and view your sale. And we have found that the more clicks and views your sale gets from the larger audience and the greater variety of potential buyers, you will then see even more competitive bids towards the end of your sale. So lots of variety brings lots of customers, which brings lots of competitive bidding. Finally, high value items, or we call them enticement pieces. Yes, there are obvious things like cars and jewelry and silver and gold, and these are things that people hunt for, and of course they will always draw in a larger audience, get you more clicks and views, and of course correlate to more competitive bids. But keep in mind maybe the mindset of the person who is hunting for estate sales or looking for online auctions and the types of things that could be enticing to them. It might not be the thing that you would think of. Think about KitchenAid mixers, working snow blowers, relatively newer flat screen smart TVs, original art, and some collectible items, even Pyrex, like old kitchenwares, costume jewelry. These are enticers as well. So when you're going through the sorting and decluttering process in the beginning and deciding if you should donate some things, remember that when it comes to a MaxSold auction, there's very little you really need to donate. And sometimes people will tend to donate things that, in fact, like costume jewelry, could really be an enticer for the auction. But then, of course, things like your sterling silver flatware set, if your client is debating whether or not they should scrap that, I always encourage to keep it in the sale because that is such a big enticement piece that when you include it in your sale, we have found time and time again that it increases the realized prices of everything in your sale. So keeping enticement items in can be really helpful. And then finally, just so you guys know, the team here at MaxSold is always happy to talk to your clients. We are always happy to help set expectations. We're always happy to help you vet whether or not it would be a great fit for an auction. We have a virtual assessment that we can provide. I am always happy to do those for our partners when needed. Basically, I text you a Zoom link and it's like a FaceTime call, and we can spend 20 minutes and walk through and help set expectations that way as well. Okay, so now we're going to dig into incorporating an auction service into your project proposal. Two big things that I have tried to be mindful of when I do this. One is estimating billable hours as best as you can. I try to estimate at least the hours of a project when I'm putting a project proposal forth to my client. Nothing's perfect. Sometimes you're off a little, sometimes you're over or under, but I try to estimate. And when you're doing that, keep in mind the time it might take to photo and catalog, a little time to edit, and then running your pickup day. And again, if you need help determining what that might look like, I'm here to help. Your account managers are here to help. Our team is here to help you navigate that process as well. And then also noting MaxSold, noting that in your project proposal, perhaps including the link to the contract. So here is a sample in case this is helpful for you guys. This is basically 3 parts in a proposal that I've worked MaxSold into. So I always have a scope of work section. This is going to look different depending on what your business is and what types of services you provide, and of course what kind of project it is. But I always note right out the gate, coordinating and managing sale of household items. So we know we're setting the expectation that that is part of the proposal of the project. And then I dig into it more by putting a section in just for noting the platform that will be the vehicle for that sale and partnering with us to make that sale happen for this client. And that's where I mentioned MaxSold. So I'll state right there some key things that are important to know. MaxSold.com is the platform we're using, what they charge, the 30% on commission. Note things like, hey, they don't put reserves and minimums. MaxSold also will pay you directly. And finally, my company adheres to the same sales terms as this MaxSold platform. And then I make sure they initial it so that they're aware. And then I may or may not link them to the contract. Usually so I'll stop for a minute. There's 3 ways that you can navigate the MaxSold contract with your client. One way is you just have them go to the link and they fill that contract out and sign it when they're done. And that's great. I do it a different way. I go in and I complete that contract because I know there are some nuanced questions in there that I may want answered a certain way. Like I know my team is going to use the app. I know that, my team is, a professional organizing business. I want to note that. I want maybe my logo noted on the live auction page. So I will fill out the contract for my client. But at the end, I have the option to send it to their email so that they can review it and then they can sign it. And that makes it a lot easier for them. And I just give them a heads up. There's going to be 2 contracts today. The one that you sign, which is my proposal for this project, and then an agreement with MaxSold.com, who will be partnering with us to run this sale. So that's how I do it. Sometimes, not often, but you can sign the contract for your client. It really depends on what you've negotiated with your client and how you want that to work. That's perfectly fine. We have lots of partners that do in fact do that. I like this section 2 on my project proposal because if I do have to do that, I know that they're aware here of what's happening. And then finally, in the fees section, this is where I try to put my estimate, and note again, time and hours spent, project managing, running the pickup day, doing that cataloging with photos, and I build it in there. So that is a sample of a proposal. MaxSold's partner managed auction benefits package. So here's what MaxSold wants to bring to your table, to your business, and contribute to you guys. So first of all, 10% of all the sale proceeds, total sale proceeds, 10% will go to you. Now, you always have the choice of crediting that back towards your client's auction. So we will either cut you a check for 10% of the sale proceeds, or we can credit that back towards the sale, which will give obviously a reduction in cost to your client. You just let us know what your preference is. Also, we will feature your business logo on the live auction page and provide a clickable link to your website. And we can also craft for you a landing page on our website that you will have access to. It will archive your past auctions and you can share that as you wish with your future clients. We are offering a unique service to enhance your business model and generate additional income. We offer a tailored onboarding training and support. So if you decide to get rolling, either your current account manager or myself or Amy on the B2B team will meet with you, help you be onboarded. We have supportive videos. And then, of course, once your contract for your first auction is in and you get your sale rolling, we have a fantastic team of seller support agents that also help on the back end and can answer questions along the way. So we provide a lot of support for you guys. And then finally, we will make sure that you have lawn signs for the pickup day, and we will send you a PDF doc so that you can print out auction stickers to help you on your organizing journey while you're crafting your auction lots. Just to share with you some of our achievements from 2023 with our partner managed auctions in collaboration with our current partners that run these. We achieved well over $11 million in total sale proceeds. We completed over 3,000 partner managed auctions last year, and that is growing. We sold over 431,000 auction lots to over 92,000 bidders. And then finally, for more information, please feel free to reach out to me. I am always happy to have a meeting with you. We can get on the phone, we can get on Google Meet or Zoom. I'm great with text. You can text me if you want. And then finally, please, I invite you to scan this code, which will take you to a landing page to help you start partnering with MaxSold. So I'm going to stop screen sharing now, and we will be able to, I think, launch the poll. Cesar is here, and he may be able to launch that.
Heather, it is live.
All right, go ahead, please, and just tick off any that look of interest to you. Just select any. You could select as many as you want. We want to get an idea of how to really provide value to our partners in as many ways as possible. Some of these will definitely be CEU eligible for our NASM and NAPO partners. Some maybe not, but we would love to have an idea of what would be helpful for you guys to know more about. So we'll just leave this up here for a little bit because I know it's a bit to read through.
Wow, the activity we're getting is quite high.
Oh, good. And I see the questions are coming in. Now we'll go to the top of them. So I'll start on the questions while you guys are finishing up the poll. Judy asks if there's an opportunity to have MaxSold staff or help staff on the pickup day in order to add extra personal security. So Judy, the auction team does not do a pickup day unless they provided a full MaxSold managed service auction. And the big reason for that is because it can be difficult to navigate a pickup day if you weren't part of the cataloging process, because your understanding of where things are located and what's in the sale can get a little confused. We've just kind of seen from experience, so we don't do that. Every now and then we offer hybrid, and hybrid means the auction team might catalog the auction and then your team would supervise the pickup day. But I understand the concern around security and safety, and I can have another conversation at some time with you about that and give you some tips and tricks on that. I don't know, Cesar, if you have any thoughts on the security and
Yeah,
safety.
one more thing I would like to add, Judy, is that if you do have a team and needs to be trained, we would be happy to jump on a call and walk them through the app, the processes for the pickup. So, that way they can get started already knowing the process.
Perfect. And how well does audio equipment sell? Components, speakers? I mean, it depends on the audio equipment, how new it is versus how old it is. Is it something vintage and collectible? Is it just a CD player from 2002? That you may want to bundle it with the other CDs there and make it one big auction lot. Um, Meg asks, how do other partners charge their clients for their time for this service? Flat fee or hourly? So, personally, when I help a client, I am operating as a professional organizer and I have an hourly rate for my time. And I bill my hourly rate for my time. That includes the time it took to use the app and photograph items and the time on site for the pickup day. That's how I do it. There may be other people that do it a little different. Stacy, my concern about doing a partner managed auction is that I don't have the knowledge about high value items and unique items that the team does. How do you support partners in this process? So, Stacy, I'm always happy to do a virtual assessment, that walkthrough where I text you a Zoom link. It's like a FaceTime call and we can walk through. And I can help set expectations for your clients, maybe identify things that would be enticement items or key featured pieces in your sale. And one thing I've learned over the years is clients usually know when they own great things, and they will usually tell you, I have something that is of value. Sometimes they're wrong, but they usually do know if they're right. So listen to them, listen to what they tell you about their things. And yes, of course, our team is here to help you anytime you have a question around potential, value expectations with items. Jason said, yes, the audio is GTG. We didn't exclusive vintage audio. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Heather, just
Jason has,
quickly jumping in. That was essentially, I added that to the message I sent Judy regarding the electronics.
oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Oh, okay. And then Matt asked, when and how does it make sense to use MaxSold with a storage unit clearances, or does it make sense at all? Um, MaxSold can be a great solution for items in storage. Absolutely. In fact, we have a NAPO partner, Lisa Dooley, and she did a webinar that's CEU eligible, she did, I think a year ago, about how to run MaxSold auctions out of storage units. And I do believe we still have it on our YouTube channel, which I'm happy to share. Matt, I can make a note to get that to you so that you can see it. And she's a great resource. She's got a lot of experience navigating storage units as an organizer in general. So, but yes, it usually is a great way to clear a storage unit. And setting expectations around, how the sale performs comes down to what is in the storage unit.
And just to add to that is that this actually would be the perfect time to do a partner manage, just because our team, Maxwell Manage, they don't do storage units just because of the logistics. So this would be a perfect candidate for partner manage.
Yeah. Judy Ricky says, I signed the contract mainly and I have MaxSold wording some of it in my own contract. Okay, they want it to be as easy as possible, yes. And I noticed that this hasn't been happening. Partner logo, few times I looked. Okay, thank you for bringing that to our attention, Judy. I will make a note of that. That is something that we want to be on top of. Because if we have a partner that would like their logo noted on the live auction page, we 100% want to make sure it's there every time. Jason said, we market ourselves as turnkey and reflect commission structure and $0 bidding starts. Yes. Judy said she would like the link at the top to say, do you have a question about an item or pickup? Contact us here. we know a lot more about our auction and can take the pressure off MS. I'm not sure I understand. Is
Uh,
this a comment
so,
or a question?
so I think what Judy means is that she would like to have, or actually a lot of our partners would like the chance to communicate with the bidders if they have any questions regarding the item. Uh, I, without giving too much insight, since this is not fully rolled out, there is a feature in the future that may solve this issue for you guys. Again, I can't really go into it too much, but I can definitely say that there's something that in the future will be rolled out that will help um, be able to communicate with bidders and partners.
Awesome. Yeah, and Geraldine said contact Max Service. They will add you right. They'll respond. That is true. I have found great success with the chat, the calls, emailing. They're very responsive, especially if there's communication that has to happen with a potential buyer. And Shannon would like auction stickers. Noting. Um, okay, let's see. There are more questions. Um, How about markets that you rarely host a sale? How do you get exposure? So there's a few ways that we can do this. And we actually were thinking of having another webinar about marketing, which may be of interest to you guys. So while MaxSold will assist with sending emails to any of the registered bidders that they have in a region, if you're in a region that maybe is still developing or relatively new, as an organizer and a partner also with MaxSold, I am in a region that is just like that. And what I have done, and it has been very successful, is I have found all of the buy and sell groups in my local Facebook area where I know the people that hunt for estate sales go to look. And I post a link to the auction in all of those groups. And I've had very successful auctions just doing that, in addition to whatever efforts MaxSold is doing. So there is, in an area that's still growing, some grassroots opportunity for you to jump on social media and promote your business and maybe get your sale in front of people too. For me, it's been successful business wise and auction wise. So I would encourage you guys to check it out if you would like to. Um, let's see. Judy said, I would like there to be a video option for lots like there is on Facebook Marketplace, especially if we can show objects are working. Cesar, do you know if that is something that's an opportunity or maybe happening in the future?
So I'm not sure if it's going to be happening in the future or what's planned for that, but if you're able to provide a YouTube link for that item, we can definitely add it in. That is a feature in our auction platform. It's not utilized as much, but if you have that, we can definitely add it in. And normally for something like that, we would say if it's a car, show it running, or something that's a high value that could increase the activity and traffic on it.
Okay. Karen's comment about the 2 week turnaround to complete your auction. She said it's rare for me to complete an auction in 2 weeks. Yeah, so I understand what you're talking about, Karen. When you are weaving into it the process of decluttering and sorting, of course, it's going to take a little longer to photo and catalog items. So the 2 week turnaround is really more relevant to once all sorting decluttering is completed and auction lots have been created and identified. And then at that point, it may come down to how quickly you and your team are able to photo and catalog perhaps, but yes, it is bigger than a 2 week project when you're putting a proposal on the table to do everything from the beginning decluttering down to getting mattresses that maybe didn't sell out the door at the end, of course. Judy said, I use the same fees for everything except draft checking and pickup team. And if I am bringing a coin collection or jewelry collection home with me to photograph and sort on my kitchen table, I can charge less, which they appreciate. Okay. Yep. Cynthia, can you estimate how long it might take to catalog the recommended 75 lots? So, Cynthia, it's going to depend on how much sorting and decluttering goes into the project and how you are weaving the photoing into the sorting. So if our auction team were to get there and everything had been sorted ahead of time and it's just time to take the pictures with the app, just pictures and descriptions, then oh, Cesar, do you know how many people they would send just to do 75 lots? Because it's definitely a day or less, but I don't have the number.
Yeah, so normally, I mean, they would send two just for security reasons, but that would be half a day. Normally they're expected to do about, about 100 lots,
Yeah.
per person.
Yep. So that's at least two people there for a day or less. And it does take practice. I mean, the first time you do it, it might take a little longer because you're getting the feel and the rhythm and the system in place that works for you and your team. Heather, are you replacing the assistant we now have from MaxSold for partners? Geraldine is asking. I'm assuming, Geraldine, you're working with an account manager in customer success. If that is the case, I am not replacing your account manager. You would definitely want to reach out to your account manager for any questions you have. I am here to support anybody that needs me, but no, if you're already working with an account manager, you're all set.
Heather, before we miss Q&A, we do have some that have been there. Do you think there's only 3 of them? So I think we should just quickly answer those and then move back to the chat. That way we're ensuring that we're
Sure.
getting everyone.
Uh,
Do you want me to just read it?
I see any suggestions on how to maintain or secure lots while the auction is running when the client is currently living in the home versus the home being vacated. So, if you lock up the house, my experience is that everything has been safe. MaxSold does not disclose the street number. You can ask them not to do that while the sale is live for extra security, but generally it should be fine. If your client is living in the house and you just want to move the items into a safe area out of the way of their day-to-day routine. When are you going to stop allowing bidders to add cents to their bids? This is probably more of an operations question, so I am not sure what their plan is.
Yeah, I can quickly jump onto that. So it's a little bit of a complicated process. So for example, if the current lot is at, let's say, $5, I can go in there and I can put in a max bid of about $100.50. Again, this is part of the platform that we use or utilize. And so if someone comes in and they put in $100, it is gonna take that 50 cents that I have and put me as the winning bidder at that time. But at the end of the day, regardless if it's cents or not, it's still gonna be a higher value. But that's essentially how it works.
Okay. Bobby Joe is asking, how often are you making money for the client with the hourly? Many times our clients are upside down or owe us money. So Bobby Joe, it comes down to, I think, the value of the sale. So, if you're running an auction and maybe the overall value is $4,000 in the end, that's a really, really big project to bring on, let's say, a junk removal or haul away company to tackle. And from my experience, you might pay close to that for them to empty the house. With MaxSold, you've now provided a solution, and maybe they did not make money because of the cost to engage your company and go through the process of emptying a house, but they're not paying somebody that amount either. So you really need to look at the overall scope of the project and what is there that they're trying to figure out how to find a solution for. So I would say the answer is within the value of what they're selling and what is the most efficient thing for them, and whether saving money is important or not, and how they want to go about doing that. Tabitha, what is MaxSold's vetting process for potential client referrals for professional organizers? This is a great question. Um, we have regions where we do not have the offering of MaxSold managed full auction service. Some of those regions are Florida and the greater Atlanta area and New York. We still run auctions here, and we still have people call us that need auctions, and we rely on our collaborations often with the partners in those regions that are interested in running partner managed auctions. So when we know that a client is vetted and a viable opportunity for a sale, we will then reach out to you if you're one of our preferred partners that wants to collaborate with us, and let you know that there is an opportunity for helping this client run a partner managed auction. But we do talk to them before giving you a call. Okay, so back to the chat. Javadi asked, is it possible when there are site outages to send the partners a note so that we are not surprised if the client calls and tells us? Cesar, do you know if a note is going out? I think usually people are informed about
Yeah,
this.
so normally if an outage happens, it's most likely at the end of the night. We do try and proactively reach out the following morning if we have information that it would have affect that auction. But having that said that, we have a link. Let me just quickly grab it here, where you can check the status of MaxSold. It's something we had for a while, but we didn't actually track it. But now, since we do have our tech team in-house, it's being monitored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share it in chat. It's we have about 30 messages, new messages, so you're going to have to scroll all the way down to see it. It's status.maxsold.com. So you should be able to see it now. And then that way you're always going to be able to track the status in case you start getting any calls from your clients.
Okay, perfect. Judy has asked to remind everybody of the cost of having a MaxSold managed setup for the lots, the photos. Okay, so the full service of MaxSold managed. So we can compare this to doing it ourselves. Good question. So if you hire the auction team to do the full service, the cost to your client is that MaxSold will take 30% commission, and they will also have a fee for the auction team's time and labor, and that is $2,000, and it is coming out of the end of the sale proceeds. There's no upfront retainer, but it is 30% and $2,000 to engage the auction team for full service. Okay, let's see. Make a note, Shannon also wants the storage unit webinar. Okay, well now, thank you. She says 2 issues to make auctions smoother for both sellers and bidders. 1, for bidders, I suggest making each sale one long page rather than breaking it into pages. This will keep bidders on the page longer. Right now, you start off seeing 24 lots, drop down menus at the bottom. You must scroll through when you click on individual lots, okay, on the page. 5 of the bigger sales. Return to the auction with the back button, you're returning to the top of the page. So now you have to scroll back down. Cesar, sounds like you have some feedback on this.
Yes, and again, I just want to go back to letting everyone know that we do have a tech team engineers in-house now, so a lot of this things is being looked at. So right now we do have multiple UI improvements planned to be implemented in June. And that includes the number of results per page default.
Okay. Susan asked, could you give a brief overview of what you found to be the most efficient and quick way to set up a sale? Lot, take photos, description, etc. So here's the way that I have worked in the past with my assistant or assistants, depending on how big the home is. I will have somebody start in one room and I will start in another room. And what we do is we start with the sorting, getting everything out that we know is going. And we are determining what can be sold. If there's stuff that's broken or stained, you know, if it's towels we want to donate, we're weeding those out. And then we are creating what the auction lots would be, and then we're photoing. So I have my assistant working ahead of me who is sorting and bundling auction lots, and then I come in, I might tweak those auction lots, but I'm cataloging, photoing and putting in descriptions. And we just work through the rooms. That's how I generally do it. Okay, let's see. Bobby Joe, how often are you making money for the clients with the hourly? Many times our clients, oh, this is the same question again. It looks like the same question came in. I make money for my clients most of the time when I run auctions. And if I think that, you know, they're not potentially going to make money, I set that expectation with them up front and I give them I explain to them that it's going to cost money to get items out of their house and they have some choices on how they want to do that. Let's see. So more requests for auction stickers. All right. Some more questions. How do you possibly compete price-wise with the MaxSold managed sales cost? So just remember that the MaxSold managed service does not include sorting, decluttering, and setup of auction lots. When the MaxSold team gets there, they need to be able to easily access and identify what they're going to take pictures of. So when we have, let's say, an estate that we need the auction team to come into, somebody still has to do the part of getting it ready in the setup. Many times we refer that business out to organizers, and the organizers will have their cost to the client, and the client will understand that there's the cost to MaxSold and the cost to whomever they hired to help get ready. And so in that regard, the cost for the project ends up being competitive, if that makes sense. It also depends on what the project is. So let's see. Are there any other questions on here? Most often with my auctions, I am trying to mitigate costs to the client while not giving away my services. I pay a very competitive rate to my crew and I don't want to spend time working for free. Maybe I find a different crew for this portion. I'm not sure, but I know there's a lot of questions on here, and it seems like this is a common question that's coming up, and I think it is often auction specific. So it may help to talk to your account manager in the customer success team or me if you don't have one, and we can get on a call and I can also do that walkthrough to kind of help set expectations and talk about specifically what might happen with that sale. Liz says, when are you going to stop bidders from using increments of less? Oh, I think Cesar answered that question. The sense there's trying to go through the comments to get to the questions for you guys. Do partner managed auctions get the same review and editing as MaxSold managed auctions? So you would be the one with the control over how that editing process happens, because once you sync everything you've done in the app, to MaxSold.com's website, you've then created your catalog, and you will be able to log into your portal and have a look at it and edit it however you wish. If you would like support from somebody at MaxSold, we are always happy to get in there and help and support you with that. Judy asked for clarification on the $2,000. In the US, it is $2,000, and in Canada, it is $2,000. Let's see. And a lot of people are requesting auction stickers. I wonder, Cesar, I think it used to go out attached to the welcome email. I wonder if they're not on there anymore. We may need to look at that, because usually when you guys sign a contract or your client signs a contract, you'll immediately get a welcome email with your 5-digit auction ID and other information. And there should be a PDF doc attached to that, but we'll make sure it's there if it hasn't been. And please reach out to your customer success account manager if you are waiting on those stickers and you haven't got them, because they can help you with that. Let's see. Okay, I see another question in the Q&A. What is MaxSold doing about the problem with credit card payment that does not clear after the lots have been won and we've lost an opportunity to sell them? So this is probably more specifically a question for bidder buyer support and seller support. Tabitha, we can follow back up with you on this. Cesar, unless you have an answer for this, I think we may have to follow back up with her.
Yeah. Okay, so normally if the credit card doesn't clear, we will try and reach the bidder slash buyer at that point to figure out other payment methods. If they don't, if we can't reach them, then there is other options to go into the underbidder. But at the end of the day, we do try and use those 2 days, the 48 hours between the closing and the pickup, to try and contact the bidder and buyer. And unfortunately, with doing online auctions, online interactions, this is one thing that we are looking into, seeing what else we could do. But at this time, it's we do provide them with guidance and try and figure out other payment methods.
Okay, perfect. Let's see, if a client's max sold sale makes 10,000, about how much could they expect to see versus what the partner gets and what max sold gets? I think that depends on whether, well, if it's partner managed, how much could they expect to see? This is a math problem, isn't it? Cesar, I might need your help.
Sorry, which one is it?
If a client's max sold sale makes 10,000, about how much of that could they expect to see versus what the partner gets and what max sold gets? So they get 70%.
So the client would get 70%, Maxwell would get 20%, and the partner would get 10% if it's a Maxwell managed. Or sorry, 5% if it's a Maxwell managed. If it's a partner managed, yes, the partner would get the 10% of that, and the client would get 70%. Maxwell 20%.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I think we have covered it. We're running out of time here. But if you have any other, oh, Sherry just jumped in. We had a buyer who wanted 50% off the sale price, claiming the item was not as described. We declined to give a discount as they were not correct. Okay, is there a way we could reach out to the second highest bidder to see if they still want the item? you want to reach out to seller support to ask them to reach out to the underbidder. If for whatever reason you're having trouble getting through, reach out to your account manager and customer success. They can also help connect with seller support, but that's a great question for them. But thank you so much, guys, for your time this evening. If any of you have additional questions or questions you feel I wasn't able to answer, I would love to talk to you. Call me, email me, or call or email your account manager. We want to support you. We want to answer all of your questions, and hope that we can enjoy partnering with everybody. And we will get this recording out. I will share it on Point for those of you in NAPO. We will get you guys the link to the YouTube, and we will get everybody a copy of the recording as well, which should be available within the next 2 days this week. But thank you, Cesar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.